we're looking at a 15-year range of older Mercedes-Benzes. And if you're new to these older cars, you're going to say, Kent, these kind of all look the same. And granted, at first glance, they do. But if you're interested in getting involved in ownership, then I have a homework assignment for you, okay? The very first thing you're going to need to do is get on the internet. Even if you have to go to the library and get some books, there's plenty of information out there, but you're going to have to learn about these chassis. You heard me talking about this 123 this 116 this 126 W1, what's the W stand for? What it, DL, SE, E. It's going to drive you crazy when you first get into these older Benzes, but you need to know this. If you're going to go out and own one, buy one, you need to learn about the chassis, and you need to learn about the models, and you need to learn about the different engines that were put in each chassis. That's not something I'm going to cover in this video series. It's just, it would create a whole series on its own. But there's plenty of information out there that you can do this yourself. So if you want to go out and buy one of these things and maintain it yourself, you have to learn about the different chassis that Mercedes built and the different models of engines that were placed in each chassis. To end this video series, how about a little quiz here? Can you tell me what chassis this is? And maybe the year range of the chassis. One of the best ways to tell is by the front grille and headlights. A lot of times you can nail the chassis right away by the front of the car, sometimes not so much by the side of the car. And the headlights will give away the year range. You know, the whole front end will tell you the chassis number, and the headlights, they varied headlights on a lot of these cars. So this, what do you think? This is what chassis and what year range for the chassis? Next, what chassis are we looking at here? Notice the headlight design. Now the headlights in this chassis, the basic design did not change over the production range, but there were models that had European headlights. They're a little bit different. These are the US style headlights with the US style fog lights. So give it your best guess. Chassis and year range on this car right here. This one may be a little more challenging. And, you know, it looks quite similar as far as the grille to the previous chassis I showed you, but notice the grille's quite a bit bigger. And if you look at these headlights, look, they're flat glass across. So the question is, what is the chassis? And what about these headlights? Does this give you a clue where the car was originally registered? Okay, take a close look here. What's the chassis that you're looking at? Look at the bumper. The bumper is going to give you a clue on the year range. Also, the grille shell in this particular chassis will give you a clue as to the year range too, because the early models had a different size grille. So this gets a little more difficult right here. So here's the final question in our chassis quiz. I don't want to make all these this easy. Okay, you guys, what chassis is this? And what's the year range? I know it's going to take probably a Mercedes enthusiast to recognize this, but I'm going to give you a clue. Some of you might get this. If I put the grille in there, the grille will give you a clue what chassis this is, primarily by the number of horizontal strips. Okay, class, how did you do on that quiz? Remember, no cheating. No, just kidding. All right, you learn the chassis. You know what you're looking for. You decide whether you want gas or diesel. There's a lot of elements when you go through this whole process of trying to decide which older Mercedes-Benz you would want to own. And I'm going to gear this particularly to those who are thinking about going out and buying one. You know, once you learn the chassis and once you narrow down which model you would like, what type of engine you would like in that particular chassis range, then you can go on the hunt. Okay, you can go on the hunt. And I've done quite a few videos. I got some on-demand videos on my website on going on the hunt for old Mercedes, particularly on what to avoid, okay? But in the next part in this series, I want to zone in on price, okay? Because a lot of you may be thinking, well, how much does one of these cost? And we're going to talk about price and the difference between expensive and cheap, okay?